And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Go to the website. They will deliver right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop. Or if you head down to Dayton, Kentucky, Wednesday through Sunday, lunch and dinner, tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off of the chicken tendies, the fried chicken, crinkle fries, coleslaw, fried pickles, all of that good stuff. Pump it up, 15%, Galactic Fried Chicken. All right, Aaron, let's get this show on the road as Thursday. So Big 12 Thursday as we take a look at the happenings in the Big 12 this week and what is coming up this weekend.
Before we get to that, though, did you see the news that came out today, Chad?
That players are in.
Well, players are in, but even more than that, all of the FBS schools are in. Yeah. All 134 or whatever the case.
Right. Everybody's in. All the players now have the opportunity to sign up. And if they sign up, they get $600 and a copy of the game.
So NCAA college football will be coming at you, I believe, exclusively on the next-gen systems, the PS5 and Xbox, whatever Xbox we're on at this point.
Yeah.
But, yep, it is all coming along. And there were some other little nuggets that I've read that are unverified, but I did see that no coaches will actually be on the game.
I did see that, yeah.
You will not be able – if a player opts out, you will not be able to create that player and put them on the game as you were able to do on any of the past iterations, which wildly inconvenient if your name is also Caleb Williams and he decided to not be on the game. I don't know how that's going to work. I guess maybe you'd have to just pick a different position potentially. I don't really know.
You have to protect the players in this so you don't get sued, that you can just create them if they didn't opt in. Like the rules have changed a little bit in those terms, I guess, but I would guess most everybody is going to opt in. Everybody wants to be a part of this game. Come on. If you're an idiot if you didn't opt in. Just how it is. Let's go back through the Big 12 this week. Monday feels like a week and a half ago at this point. I don't know about you, but that Houston-Iowa State game did not happen this week.
No, it
even though it was
like
Monday.
Right.
The score is interesting, Aaron, because Houston won the first half by 5. They won the second half by 3. They win the game 73-65. Iowa State covered. But it felt like Houston was in far more dominant control of that game for like 35 of the 40 minutes.
Well, Houston jumped out to an early lead, and
Iowa State clawed back at half.
They did.
And then Houston built up another big lead. And then Iowa State got it, I think, as close as 4 in the second half, but never any closer than 4.
If somehow this game had gone into overtime, I think Houston would have lost because they had guys fouling out. Important key players fouling out. Unfortunately for Iowa State, they just were never able to quite get it there. It was really
down.
It was really the Jamal Shed game. Let's be all the way real.
Good. I mean, he's the player of the year in the conference.
He made everything. 12 of 13 from the line, 6 of 10 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, 26 points. Just the guy is unbelievable. 38 minutes. He just has a motor that does not stop.
Yeah. And he's the reason, like, it's interesting because I think they've had better talents than him, but he's probably the best college player Kelvin Sampson's had at Houston.
I think Quentin Grimes has more talent than
the freak last year.
Oh God. Yeah.
Like they have guys that have had superior talent to Jamal Shed, they are the team they are this year because he is the head of the snake. Like, he is unbelievable good. And the games that they have lost, he's been average or a little below average, and they just couldn't recover. Like, that also is something to keep an eye on in the NCAA tournament, that they are susceptible to an upset because they rely so heavily on Jamal Shead.
On him and his offense.
Yeah.
I hope all of you out there were like me, though, and placed money on that 8.5 spread and nailed it, because I did.
Sweated it out, boy.
Oh, sure. I was pacing. I felt like I felt like our good buddy who paced.
Oh.
No. Because I was pacing circles around the house.
Oh yeah. But it was a great game. Like, as good a game as we thought it was going to be. It was. Houston was better at home by 8, and those are the two best teams in the league. I don't think it's remotely close, honestly.
Little hat tip to Berg there if you didn't catch that. But
yeah, that was. I know.
Other game.
The impressive part, or the part that surprises you, I guess, a little bit. 28-23 at the half. Houston scores 45 in the second half. Iowa State scores 42. Against those two defenses, that's terrifying that those two teams could hit that gear offensively in the second half.
Both teams, it felt like, kind of had to take their foot off of the gas a little bit as far as defensively, just because people were getting into foul.
The fouls, yeah, a lot of free throws, a lot of fouls. Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
Moving on, Texas stays alive, 62-56 home win over Kansas State. It was not an aesthetically pleasing game to watch. Kansas State 5-8 in the Big 12. They're kind of in that same boat as Cincinnati. They need a Hail Mary kind of to end this conference season to keep their head above water. We will get to that in 10 days or so when Kansas State comes to town. But Texas taking care of business. That was an important game for both of those teams. As much as Kansas State has struggled, like, they still have a couple decent wins. They could have kept their head above water if they got to 6-7, but Texas goes to 6-7. Kansas State goes to 5-8, and that's a big win for Texas.
Yeah, Disu, the only player with double digits for Texas, as he scores 20, continues to be just a menace in this conference. But Kansas State, down the line, it got very, very close, and they just had I think it was Tyler Perry had just a terrible turnover in the final minute of the game.
He's been rough. Outside of that game at the Kansas game that they won, he has not been the transfer everybody thought he was going to be.
He was also the reason they were still in that game, though, up until that turnover.
That's kind of who he's been off season, is kind of like this really loud highs and equally loud lows.
So he's Dan Skillings.
Different. But yeah, still different. Tuesday, those are the Monday games. Tuesday, a little bit of a shocker. BYU, who had kind of been trending in the wrong direction, gets up off the mat and takes down Baylor 78-71 in Provo. That was an awesome game. Like, that game was really good.
Yeah, Ali Khalifa with 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 14 points.
You know what? I probably should have remembered this. He wanted to come here in the John Brannon era.
His sister played for the Lady Cats.
His sister was here, and he was very interested in Cincinnati, but they never really put a lot of pressure on him in the recruiting world, and turned out to be pretty good. The guy's pretty good.
Yeah, it would have been fun having a center that can get you 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and 14 points on this.
A guy that can just stand there at the high post and pick you apart passing the ball.
big fella, sets really good screens.
Right. Passes at an elite level for a center. Yeah.
What might have been. Instead, we got Chris Vogt.
But yeah, Baylor, that's a big win for them. That was one they didn't need. Like they're still going to be okay to get in the tournament if they didn't get it. But that puts a pretty nice late season scalp on your resume for a team that's metrics are very good.
They lose that when they're dropping out of the top 25 for sure. So,
but yeah, they were 25th. I mean, it's number 11, so it shouldn't drop you that far, but
it's still not going to have a number in front of that name.
Right. Yeah. Another incredible game. Tuesday was just outstanding. Outstanding watching Big 12 games. Texas Tech 82, TCU 81. Texas Tech now 8-5 in Big 12 play. TCU 7-6. And that was two teams just throwing haymakers at each other for 40 minutes. Do you have any juice on that one?
Popeyes? No, I didn't touch this one. I'm too scared of TCU, not knowing what to expect. Again, I feel like they rise and fall on Jameer Nelson.
So does Texas Tech.
And Pop Isaacs is a mess still. He's 4 of 11 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3.
Popped Isaacs.
19 points somehow, some way, willed himself to 19 points. I think that's the first game since Cincinnati that he scored more than 11, if I'm not mistaken. But every starter played pretty well for Texas Tech outside of Jennings. They all get double digits there. Unfortunately for TCU, that's tough. That's one they needed.
Bad. Yeah. They're going to be desperate Saturday. Like,
that's not what you wanted.
It feels like a hornet's nest Saturday. It really does. You've got a Cincinnati team that's kind of licking their wounds.
Yep.
And a TCU team that's going to be mad as hell, playing a team that they already lost a game that I'm sure TCU feels like they should have won.
Well, if not, their coach sure does.
Hornet's nest. I don't feel great about Saturday. I'm just saying.
I don't know.
And then West Virginia 77, UCF 67. UCF looked like a team that got beat up by Cincinnati on Saturday and just did not want any part of playing West Virginia on Tuesday night.
UCF is in shambles. Another new Big 12 team going to West Virginia and losing.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on there. Slazinski, after the game, had one of the funnier
great, so good.
pressers that I've seen in a while, as he was asked about the week of Rick Pitino, which has not been a good week for Coach Pitino, Count Pitino, however you want to refer to him as.
How many body parts would I cut off of Clinton Slazinski? 1,
7,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Unbelievable. But Slazinski, if you didn't get a chance to watch that, it's worth going back to watch, because he's just like, am I going to get in trouble for saying this? I don't know. And coach said some wild things, some things that I've never heard anyone else say to me in my life. Hilarious. But
I'm going to cut you up into 7 different pieces and send your body parts to all the different places you came from.
Unreal that you would say that to somebody. After I drain all of your blood.
Yeah. Here we go. Quick rundown of what's coming up on Saturday. Another just ridiculous Saturday, fun Saturday for this league. Houston at Baylor, CBS at noon. Big time national game. This one's an interesting one for Cincinnati, because maybe Houston beats Baylor, feels a little comfortable going into that Saturday or that Tuesday matchup in Houston. I don't think this is going to happen. I'm just
the very last thing you want is Baylor to win this game.
Win. Yeah, no, you don't want that at all because Houston gets real mad after a loss, real mad, especially at home after a loss. Boy, if you're rooting for any Big 12 team at all this season, you want to see Houston beat Baylor on Saturday. West Virginia at Iowa State. Iowa State, you would have to think West Virginia's been bad on the road. They just got a nice win over Central Florida. I mean, I would take Iowa State, and I would probably give you a lot of points.
ESPN saying 97.8, so they agree.
Yeah. BYU at Kansas State. This is a huge game of the season for Kansas State. They can get back, not back on track, but they can keep hope alive if they can beat BYU at home. That one's 2:00 on ESPN Plus. UC and TCU, ESPN Plus at 3. Texas Tech at UCF. How does UCF get off the mat after that West Virginia loss?
ESPN's favoring them.
Continue, really?
Yep, 51.5%.
I still think Texas Tech wins, but it will be interesting to see the fight in Johnny Dawkins' team in that one. Oklahoma State, Bedlam. Am I crazy for thinking Oklahoma State's going to beat Oklahoma? That was a 4-point game in Norman. Oklahoma State has been shooting the shit out of it, almost 57% in the last 2 games. They scored 93 against BYU. They scored 80 against Cincinnati.
I would say
I'm going Oklahoma State. I'm in. Oklahoma State. I'm in.
I would say that you were crazy because the only teams that have not lost immediately after playing Cincinnati are Houston and Iowa State. That said, this was not a physical game that Cincinnati played against Oklahoma State, and I don't believe that Oklahoma State is even beat up from that one. And I'm with you. I don't think that Oklahoma is going to play Oklahoma State in the last game potentially that they're going to play ever
for a long while. Yeah, for a while probably,
unless they schedule something out of conference.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm riding Oklahoma State. I can't wait to see what the spread is on that one because I think that there's some money to be made, and I don't think Oklahoma's defense is going to stop these kids if they're shooting the lights out.
That's at 4 on ESPN2, and then Texas at Kansas. Texas is probably going to make the tournament. Probably.
I don't think they have a shot in hell at this game.
You don't?
No.
Kansas just still, I know how great they are in Allen Fieldhouse. But when Texas has played well, that they have a couple dudes that can carry them to victory. Kansas probably wins. I'm not going to be surprised if it comes down to the buzzer. I'll say that. I
don't think that Texas has an answer defensively for Kansas' starters, all of them. And that's I think that Dickinson can slow down Disu at the rim, and where else you get Asmus, I guess.
Yeah, I mean I think he just scored. He's about to score his 3,000th point in college.
I just don't think that Texas matches up well against Kansas, and Kansas is at home.
That's fair.
I don't think they have a shot at this one.
That's fair. All right. I'm going to go do we've had the BCJ pod tonight. We got a nightcap. I'm going to go talk to Chris Lepore, get a little film session in, a little film breakdown, Brendel's breakdown with Chris Lepore. We'll also either be up tonight. I might put it up in the morning. I'm not sure. One of the two. But recording tonight with Chris. So we're going to get out of here. We will see you on I will see you on Saturday. I don't know who with. Somebody will be opposite me on Saturday. That's going to wrap it up. That's the nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya!